What's up guys, Grasshopper here with another video. Overwatch has gone through a lot of different metas, but now we're in a place where almost any hero and team comp is viable. So I'll be discussing the different team comps that can be played in competitive. Now let's skip the bullshit and get right into it. First up, we have the 2-2-2 comp. This is the most common team comp you'll find in ranked play because it is the safest bet to win each game. You have decent health pools, damage output, and healing output. Let's break it down. 2-2-2 is made up of a main tank, off tank, main healer, flex healer, main DPS, and flex DPS. A main tank has a barrier like Reinhardt, Winston, or Orisa. Then an off tank supports the main tank as well as the team, so it would be D.Va, Zarya, or Roadhog. The main healer will obviously do the most healing, and common choices are Ana, Moira, and Mercy. A flex healer brings some damage or tech to the team, as well as some healing, and this would be Lucio, Zenyatta, or Brigitte. Similar to the healers, the main DPS will do the most damage and can either choose hit scan or projectile damage. The flex DPS should choose the opposite type of damage to the main DPS and also usually has some tech to help the team. The DPS are also the main heroes that should switch to counter the enemy team comp, but tanks can switch as well sometimes. With a 2-2-2 comp, almost anything can work as long as you have a barrier and a main healer, but remember to counter the enemy team. I have videos on my channel that go over the counter picks for each hero in Overwatch, so check that out if you need help. Next up, we'll look at the really strong GOATS comp, or 3 tanks and 3 supports. Now, this is starting to fall out of favor with some of the changes to Brigitte, but the team comp is still slightly popular, and it's been good for the past 3 months, so I wanted to include it. There are a lot of variants, but the essentials to this comp are D.Va, Zarya, Brigitte, and Lucio. You have to have those heroes almost all the time. The idea for this team comp is for everyone to stick together and rush to the point or enemy team, depending on if you're attacking or defending. Focusing down one enemy is the key to win each fight, and normally it's the enemy main tank. Swapping in a Winston as the main tank will make the comp more divey and high ground mobile, but a Zenyatta will be necessary as well for that. After Brig and Lucio, the third healer can be Moira, Ana, or even Zenyatta. Moira can heal multiple targets at once and will charge her ult up really fast. Ana has a ton of healing and ult charge as well, but her tech with the sleep and anti-nade can earn kills for the team. Zenyatta doesn't have as much healing, but with Lucio and Brig, the team should still survive a while. What Zen lacks in healing, he makes up with the Discord buff and range damage. Discord can burst down an enemy hero pretty fast, so your team doesn't even need that much healing because you can win the fight quick. The intricacies with the GOATS comp can get really deep, and it could be covered in its own video, but again, GOATS comp is kind of dying, and there's so many other videos on it that we're just going to move on to the next comp. So moving on, we have the fast and aggressive dive comp. This team comp has been around since the beta of Overwatch, if that gives you any idea of how good it is. The playstyle of dive comp is to pick an enemy squishy and jump on them with multiple teammates to kill them immediately. Dive comp is made up of fast, flanky type heroes that specialize at killing enemies quickly. Winston and D.Va make up the tanks, while Lucio and Zenyatta are usually the healers. If you need more healing, Ana or Moira can swap in for Zen, but you lose the Discord damage buff. The DPS is almost always a Genji and Tracer, but you can swap out the Tracer for Sombra, Doomfist, or Pharah. If you use Pharah, you might want a Mercy as well, but the goal is still to kill the enemy backline as fast as possible, which will win the team fight. Brigitte and other crowd control heroes do well against dive comp, so be wary. To counter dive comp, there's the anti-dive comp. This team comp bunkers up to protect the squishies and kill the flankers that try to dive in on the team. There's usually a lot of crowd control in this anti-dive comp to control the fight and earn kills. The main tank can be Reinhardt or Orisa, while the off tank is usually D.Va, but you can use a Roadhog if you have an Orisa as the main tank, or play Zarya if Reinhardt's the main tank. The healers are Lucio and either Moira or Ana, depending on the rest of the team. The DPS are made up of crowd control heavy and damage heavy heroes like McCree, Junkrat, Mei, or Reaper. A quick note on Brigitte, technically her kit should help deal with dive comps, and it can at lower ranks, but you really want Lucio to move your team away from attackers. Sometimes Brig is swapped in for a DPS, but this was before her nerf. If you're good with her and your team wants to counter dive, then you should use her. Dive and anti-dive comps are slowly coming back as GOATS comp is dying off, but it'll take some time to see which team comp is the best now. A solid counter to anti-dive besides GOATS comp is the double sniper comp. Double sniper is exactly how it sounds. The DPS are Hanzo and Widowmaker. The tanks are Reinhardt and Zarya, or sometimes a D.Va, and the healers are Ana and Zenyatta, with sometimes switching to Mercy or Brigitte to support the snipers when they get attacked up close. The playstyle of double snipers is to get different angles of attack on the enemy team, and anti-dive is weak because they can't always rotate the barriers quick enough. This team comp is strong if the DPS can hit their shots, but a dive comp will counter the snipers. Next, I'll bring up the triple DPS comp, which can work well against anti-dive and also 2-2-2 comps. This comp is exactly what it sounds like. 3 DPS players. Usually a sniper or flanker, a consistent hit scan DPS, and a burst damage hero like Pharah, Junkrat, or Doomfist. Really, any DPS can work as long as you have the different types of damage like projectile and hit scan. Also, there's only one tank, so it's going to be a Reinhardt or Winston depending on if the team is more mobile or not. The healers will need a DPS to stay by them for support, but depending on the DPS, you can run any main healer or flex healer. Just make sure everyone is getting healed, especially your only tank. Finally, the last team comp I'll go over is Pirate Ship, which has been a staple since Orisa and the map Junkertown came out. It's a very cheesy comp, but it's also powerful because it can be hard to counter. I know you've seen it played a few times, but the tanks are usually Orisa and Reinhardt, or Orisa and D.Va. The healers are Mercy and Zenyatta, or Mercy and Ana. You need that Mercy damage boost on Bastion. Obviously, there's a Bastion on the payload, and the other DPS is usually a sniper or flanker. Everyone except the sniper or flanker should be fighting on the payload so the Bastion has protection. All the Bastion has to do is shoot and focus enemy heroes, and if they're standing behind barriers, he shreds through those barriers right away. And that's all I have for this video. When playing ranked, most players will default to the 2-2-2 comp, but don't be afraid to suggest a comp you want to run because a lot of people will be open to it. This is the best time for any team comp to do well on the ranked ladder, and we'll have to wait and see which comp takes over as the best one after a couple weeks. Which team comp is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. Also, before I forget, leave a like on this video and subscribe if you enjoyed it because it helps me out and you won't want to miss what's next. If you're interested in watching me stream, you should try to catch me when I'm live on Twitch and YouTube because it's pretty entertaining. Just check out this clip if you don't believe me.
Backing up shield, backing up shield. He was freezing. He was freezing. The monkey. Ready for me to go sicko mode? Ready? You ready? Please. Sicko mode!
Get the Ana.
Shut up!
Dude, it was all me. How many did I die? Did 2 deaths.
I thought you were sicko mode one more fucking time.
Sicko mode.
I'm sorry.
Well, until next time, I'm Grasshopper. Keep hopping.